Hey, everybody that will be joining soon. Welcome to my podcast, Plant-Based with Nicole. I'm your host, Plant-Based Nicole Richey. And today, I'm going to be doing something a little different. Not so much focused on my guest vegan or raw vegan story, but we're going to be addressing menopause, okay? Now, when I was in my early 20s, 30s, and 40s, I didn't think about menopause. I was like, I don't have to deal with that until I'm old. Okay. Well, I'm about to be 48 tomorrow and I don't consider myself old and I'm going through perimenopause already. So we need to educate ourselves as women because there's so much more than, oh, you just get hot flashes when you get menopause and that's it. No, there's so many things that affect our hormones. Anyway, I'm going to bring on my guest shortly. She is an expert in this subject, so we're going to bring her on soon, but first I'm going to read her bio. So stay tuned. Make sure you share this live and stay on here, you guys. Hey, Howard and Rhonda, I hope you guys stay on. Hello, thank you guys for joining. Make sure you share this live. We're going to talk about menopause tonight, and please do not ignore this because this is something women go through, and not just when you get old. People can get it in the early 40s. But anyway, I'm going to read my guest bio, Karen Ranzi. I'm really excited to interview her tonight. I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start. But so Karen Ranzi, MA, is an award-winning author, vegan coach, vegan health coach since 1998, autism expert, internationally acclaimed speaker, director of Vegan Coach Certification Course, health retreat leader for retreats in Costa Rica and the Women's Health Retreat, and speaking of speech pathologist, I need one right now. Speech pathologist. Karen has been a speaker worldwide for over 20 years, presenting at events such as London VegFest and the annual Woodstock Fruit Festival. I'm sorry, you guys, I can't read today. I think I'm nervous or something. Karen is a pioneer in the vegan and raw food movements, vegan for 33 years and raw vegan for 28 years, guiding thousands of individuals and families to excellent health and well-being. In 1994, Karen was able to heal her 3-year-old son from asthma, chronic ear infections, and multiple allergies, and herself from digestive and skin problems, severe cystic acne, through her dietary and lifestyle changes. Wow, that's amazing. By means of her education, life-changing personal experiences, and sincere desire to share her message, Karen has been able to guide thousands towards developing excellent health through plant-based, raw food living. So, I'm excited. She is amazing. Look, this bio is just very inspirational. She's done so much. So I'm going to bring her on now. Thank you for being on time. I'm going to bring her on now. Thank you guys for please. Let's see, did I do it right? Sorry, I do this every time.
Hey, how are you, Nicole? So good to be here with you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining me, Karen.
Absolutely. I'm loving the fact that we get to meet here.
Yes. And speaking of meeting, I'm still in awe on how this just came about. Like, okay, first, I've been knowing who you are for years. Okay.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I've been watching your YouTube channel for years. Been subscribed for, I don't know how many years, but it's been at least 3. And it's probably more than that. And, you know, so I watched your channel and then I was watching some of Jeanette's videos and I saw her interview you about menopause and I was watching the video and I was like, wow, I need to bring her on my channel or on my page or my podcast to talk about that because, you know, because I'm in the early stages of it and I would love to interview you. So I'm thinking this in my head. Okay, everybody who's watching and who will watch later, I've been watching her for years. Okay, I saw a video of her. She was talking about menopause. I said to myself, I want to bring her on my show to talk about menopause. Karen never knew who I was. Okay, And then I don't know who you said you don't remember who gave you my name.
Somebody gave me your name and said, "Oh, this girl's so cool. You got to
Oh,
contact her." And I didn't write their name. I just wrote your name down. And I just, just suddenly I was going through like a lot of my past notes and I saw your name and I said, "Oh, I'm going to contact her." And then when you asked me who was it, like I still haven't figured it out. But I think somebody will say, "Oh, did you ever contact her?"
yeah.
I think that'll happen and I'll
And
message you.
when you find out, let me know, because I'm so you guys. It was so amazing how I just thought to myself, I want to bring her on my show to talk about menopause, and then she reached out to me in my inbox about coming on my show, like literally like 3 days after I said that to myself. So I thought, if that's not God, I don't know what is.
That's like
Yeah,
manifesting, right?
yeah, that was so. I'm still in awe about that. That's because again, you haven't been knowing me over the years. You know what I mean? So I thought that was
Well, I do know
amazing.
you now, and I checked out some of your stuff, and it seems like you're doing some great work out there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
This is what, a passion of mine, health and this, the plant-based lifestyle and sharing and getting the message out there is like a passion of mine. So I love talking to like-minded people and letting them tell their stories. And, so I love, your bio is outstanding.
I
You
mean, I've
are
been doing
amazing.
this for decades, so
Yeah.
I'm like super passionate about it, and I raised my kids vegan and then went raw vegan in 1989. I went vegan
Wow.
after being vegetarian for decades.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough because I was eating a lot of dairy, and I
Oh,
had
yeah.
terrible hormonal cystic acne from adolescence onward for over 25 years.
Even
And
as a vegetarian. That's crazy.
even as a vegetarian, but I love dairy, and that's like one of the main culprits.
Yeah.
And in 1989, when I went vegan and I gave up the dairy, my skin cleared up in 3 months.
Wow.
And I had cysts on my face. So
If
it
we could
was
just get the message out there, all the people that suffer with acne, I don't know if I still have the post up. One time I put a post up and I said, if you suffer from acne, try eliminating dairy for 30 days and then let me know what happens. Because I heard an interview with Woody Harrelson, the actor. He had acne, and um, someone told him that they said that you have an allergic reaction to dairy, and he took it out and it cleared up. So I think that's amazing how eliminating one food group can just clear your skin up. That's amazing. No medication needed, right? Just removing one food.
just one food group, what they call the food group,
Right, right.
which, has many harmful effects. I think I saved myself from having problems in the peri and post menopause years largely because I took that dairy out back in 1989. And
Yes.
then in 1994, even following a plant-based diet, we were still eating a lot of processed foods.
Yeah.
So I already had the recovery of my skin through just going plant-based and giving up dairy.
Yeah.
But my son had asthma and chronic ear infections as a young child, even though we followed a plant-based diet. And I
Yeah.
couldn't figure it out. And I just decided I'm going to try. I started researching raw food. I was hearing about it and started researching it. And my grandmother back in 1921 had healed from asthma and emphysema through
Hmm.
they didn't even have the words raw food back then.
Right. It wasn't
But
a thing.
no, but she knew about natural plant foods.
Yeah.
And she was in the hospital because her emphysema got so serious, and the doctors told her she only had a few months to live. And she
Wow.
was a single mom. My father was only 4 years old, and she was really scared. And she decided that she was going to look at this book that was given to her,
Hmm.
called The Mucusless Diet Healing System. It was all about plant food. And
Yeah.
she went to a total plant food diet, very high in natural uncooked foods,
Hmm.
not completely,
Yeah.
but she totally healed from the emphysema, ended up living like another 50 years. And so
Wow.
I grew up with that healing story. And
Yeah.
when my son later had problems, that's when I went to more raw living foods and
So
saw the
I was,
results with him.
yeah. So that's what I was going to ask you. What made you transition? So that was your inspiration. Yeah.
My
That's a,
child, when you have a sick child, like you'll really do anything you can.
right.
And I
So
was
you,
very motivated.
yeah, of course you'll do whatever it takes. So you were vegan first and then you went to raw foods. Um,
Yes. I was
okay. So,
vegan for 5 years before I
mhm.
went to raw food. First, I mean, I was vegetarian for decades,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't give up my cheddar cheese. Forget it. I loved my cheddar cheese. But
I
then
know.
finally, I decided I'm going to give it up, and I transitioned, and I really loved all the vegan recipes I was learning, and I was meeting a lot of people who were going plant-based, and I also learned what happens with cows when they're milked, how they're constantly impregnated. And that made me very angry that I didn't
Wow.
understand that before, because I loved animals. And I
Yeah.
always thought, well, cows aren't killed for the dairy, but I had no understanding of the cruelty of the dairy industry.
So
And when
sad.
I got that, so many people don't realize that cows, in order to be giving milk all the time, they need to constantly be impregnated. And
Wow.
they have no life. They're constantly being forced to have babies. They're like
Poor
raped by
cat.
dairy farmers. It's really sad.
It's it is. It really is. And I appreciate all those that are respecting that and choosing this lifestyle. you know, um, so I know your benefits, you healed your cystic acne. Did you have any other healing that took place?
Oh, yeah, a lot, a lot. And that's another reason why I'm so passionate about this, because so many things changed for me. And I see so many people over the years who I've worked with have changed. I've been coaching since 1998, and I have seen people healing from every chronic disease and autoimmune condition imaginable
Yeah.
through going whole foods plant-based, and also then that whole important raw food picture. But I have just seen so many miraculous stories, and my
Yeah.
own my own is also very, you know, I would call it a miracle as well, because that
Yeah.
cystic acne, I thought I was going to have it for the rest of my life. The dermatologist told me it was genetic. I believed them. I even wanted to believe them so I could continue to eat dairy and all the junk food I was eating. But then when I was able to clear my skin in 3 months, I was like, wow, this is
Wow.
impressive. And I also had IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. So I
Mm.
had a lot of digestive issues, a lot of bloating, back and forth, kind of like constipation and diarrhea.
That's
But
not fun.
my system was definitely out of whack for many, many years, because of the foods that I was eating, both animal food and highly processed food.
Mhm.
And when I gave all that up, not only did my skin heal, but my digestive system started working. Um, I the IBS was just gone,
Wow.
and just everything started normalizing. And I also, for years, had severe menstrual pain every month. I would have to take off from work. I was in terrible pain with cramps, and that all went away. I would get my periods sometimes once a year or once every other year. It
Oh
was so
wow.
erratic. I lived in Manhattan at the time, and I went to a hospital, and they gave me prednisone to try to
Mm.
regulate my period and to help
Uh,
me also with my skin. And like none
yeah.
of that helped. It only caused side effects.
Right.
And when I went to vegan, and then especially when I went to raw vegan in 1994, I started getting my period every 28 days.
And it was better. No pain though this time.
No pain at all. The pains were a thing of the past.
That's great.
That was it. That was the end of it. And every month I would get a really nice light period. I
That's so
actually, when I
nice.
went through menopause and I didn't have my period anymore, I missed it so much.
I don't think I'll ever say that in my life. I will never miss you. Well, that's good
But
though, because
mine
you have
just
a good,
got really, really light and enjoyable. Like it wasn't like I had to fear it anymore or be
yeah,
scared that I was going to have these terrible cramps and be in bed and like just really sick. That all
yeah.
changed.
That is so, that's wonderful because I have suffered for years with that. Even eating plant-based did not make that better. So
Yeah.
I would never miss my cycle. So that's good that you had like especially the eating raw vegan really helped with that.
That helped
Yeah.
tremendously.
And I think it's amazing that you were able to help your son heal all his, his issues with a raw food diet as well. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And he
And
was only 3 years old.
he was 3 years old and he had asthma. He was wheezing during the day, and we were told that he would have to be on an inhaler and medication, steroids.
Oh my
A lot of
goodness.
people with asthma are, and we were like in and out of the hospital. And I just was like, I gotta do something here. How could we like already be plant-based and him not getting better? Because I thought it was
Yeah,
all about the dairy. But then when we went to raw food, there must have been something that he was missing. Maybe
yeah,
it was the fact that we were eating a lot of processed packaged stuff and he wasn't
hmm
getting enough nutrition.
yeah,
The water content of a lot of those foods, like, we need to constantly be replenishing our water. Our bloodstream is 70, our bodies are 72% water as
yeah,
humans. And if we're
yeah,
just eating all this packaged stuff that doesn't have water content, we're going to get depleted. And I
yeah,
think that was
exactly.
part of it as well.
Right. I've been eating plant-based for 12 years and it does not, my body's used to it now, so it doesn't just keep me from having issues, right? If there is some little flare-up or ailment that happens, I have to go to the next stage. I have to eat raw in order for my body to heal itself. And so, sometimes you have to go to the next. If you're raw vegan, if you have issues, you might have to go to fruitarian. If you're a fruitarian, you have to go to all juices. So
That's
whatever your
right.
body, yeah, whatever your body's used to, sometimes you have to go up a notch. But that's amazing that you were able to help your son heal. So you have so many like great things I want to talk about, and I know we can't talk about everything, but I did want to have a focus. I wanted to talk about menopause.
Yeah.
Menopause because I feel like a lot of us women, we're not educated. I know that I didn't really start learning things until about 8 months ago when I finally came back with results and my hormones were low. And my doctor, she said your hormone levels suggest you're in menopause, but you're not in full menopause until you haven't had your menstrual cycle for 1 year. So I'm not all the way in menopause yet, but like once my cycle is gone for a year, then that's when I'm full blown. And my cycle has been like so irregular. And I'm actually happy that I'm not getting it every month because I'm one of those people who suffers with bad menstrual pain. But I feel like a lot of women and who's watching now and who will watch later, I wanted you guys to hear this because I used to say, oh, I'm not going to have to do it menopause until I'm old. That's what I used to think, right? And I'm like, I'm 48 tomorrow and
You're
I
a
don't feel
baby.
old. Huh?
You're a
I'm
baby.
but I'm already like perimenopausal, so it just goes to show that you shouldn't like just put something off or don't worry about it till later just because you feel like you're not going to deal with it until later because you don't know when it's going to happen.
It's important to know, and it's
Yeah,
important to understand what you can do to
yeah.
have a really healthy menopause. I put together a mini course, which is not even on my website yet, but it's called the Happy Healthy Menopause. And
That's one of
I
your books,
believe that
right?
women can have that
Yeah.
because, there's so many problems that women go through when they reach the menopause years. And I think a lot of it can be avoided.
Yes, and you were blessed to go through menopause without zero symptoms. And are you like, did any of your friends or family experience what you experienced, like going through menopause without symptoms?
No,
Are you like,
they all had symptoms.
wow? And okay, so I wanted, okay, first, before we talk about why you didn't have symptoms and all that, I wanted to first say, what is menopause for those who don't know? Like, I only knew menopause is something you get when you're older and you just get hot flashes. It's so much more than that. So
Oh,
can you
so much
tell
more.
everybody that's watching and that will watch, like,
Yeah.
what is menopause? How long does it last? And what are some of the symptoms? Like, what does it affect?
Yeah. Well, menopause for me is that when you reach a certain age and you lose your menses, and for some women, they get really depressed.
Karen?
And
Oh, there you are.
I was expecting also that it was, just about aging and that I'm going to age. And this is just one second. And this is what happens to women. We get hot flashes, we get visceral fat around the midline. These are things that I saw happening to women when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like, well, that's probably going to happen to me as well. I'm not going to sleep well. Um, a lot of women really, really struggle with the weight during
Yeah.
during the menopause years. It's much harder to be at an ideal weight. A lot of women have thyroid issues as they're going into menopause. If they haven't had them before, a lot of times they'll develop problems with their thyroid, which is an extremely sensitive gland and is very sensitive to toxins. So as we go through the years and we build up toxins in our body, it kind of really accumulates. And when we lose our period and we don't have that opportunity to detoxify every month, because the period really is a release of toxins in our body.
Yeah. Wow.
I started to really understand when I researched it that the fact that my period, even at age 40, when I went raw vegan, that my body was not needing to detoxify as much. And that's why my period went from this extremely heavy flow every month to this really light, sometimes almost non existent flow.
Mm-hmm.
Some women
Wow.
lose their period and don't realize that they're still ovulating.
Yeah. I heard you say that on one of your interviews. Doesn't mean you can't get pregnant.
And get pregnant, and I know women who have gotten pregnant without even having a sign of a period.
Yeah.
Or,
So,
can be ovulating. Um, so I always thought it was going to be this drastic thing that I wasn't
yeah.
to look forward to, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was not like that at all. And I went through the part of my life where I did finally start, like, it went from like every month to like every other month. And then I didn't get it for a while and thought I was in menopause, but then it came back. So
Oh,
it was a little wavering back and forth, but around my mid 50s, it just finally stopped. And
finally stopped.
yeah, and I was expecting the hot flashes. I was expecting insomnia. And actually, I did have insomnia earlier, and my mother had terrible insomnia. So I thought
Yeah.
it was probably hereditary, that I was just going to have insomnia. But I realized that the insomnia did not have to come my way once I made dietary changes, lifestyle changes. There was so many things that I was doing because I saw all the the miracles that happened with my hormonal cystic acne, with my son's healing of asthma, with a woman who I worked with who had breast cancer 10 years ago, and she's still thriving 10 years later.
Wow.
So I realized that this way of living and eating and not taking in hormones and bacteria from a species that has no connection to us as humans, like
Yeah, exactly.
be eating animal flesh. It just does not digest. Scientifically, we are not lions. We do not have the carnivore's teeth. We don't have the carnivore's digestive system. Our
Hmm.
intestine is like 20 feet long, all curled up. And when we eat animal food, it gets clogged in there.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it wreaks havoc on our system. And that is really a lot of the cause of all of the trauma that women experience going into the menopause years. Asian women who are eating loads of, I'm not talking about current Asian women because the diet over there has also changed through the years. The Western diet has even progressed over to Asia. But a lot of those traditional women who are still following their plant-based diet, they have much lower rates of hot flashes than we do in the United States.
Oh, really? Interesting. I
Yeah.
like how I was watching one of your interviews and you say the food we eat creates everything that happens in our bodies. So all the different ailments and things we have all have to do with food, mostly, right? So you didn't have zero symptoms and it was just because of your raw vegan diet, raw vegan lifestyle?
It was a total approach. I do believe that the diet and the diet is key. I think it's like probably 80% of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's another aspect
Uh-oh. Oh, okay, there you are.
of
It's you went mute for
that.
a minute.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure why that happened. But another part is just your general lifestyle. There's many factors that go into that. One of them for sure is movement.
Mm-hmm. You got
And
to move.
I really believe that, once people get older, they get tired. They just don't want to move as much. I see this happening with women.
Mm-hmm.
You have to move on a daily basis. You have to move and you have to do weight resistance.
Yes, that's important.
Very
Not just cardio, not just cardio, but
right.
you have to incorporate. And it doesn't, if you don't want to do weights, you can do bands at least, resistance bands.
Yeah,
But so it's diet and movement can help with menopause symptoms. Um,
absolutely.
what ages can menopause affect? Like I'm about to be 48 and I'm perimenopausal, which is like the stage before I'm in full blown. So like what's the age range for people that are in menopause?
Yeah, I mean, menopause starts at different ages, and actually, women who go through menopause earlier, it can actually be healthier because,
Really?
um, yeah, because you see a lot of these like young girls getting their period really young. Like we see girls 9 years old getting their period because
Yeah.
of estrogen from animal foods.
Wow.
And women who get their period earlier, like that young, and go through menopause later, a lot of them have more serious issues during the
Really?
Mhm.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
It has a lot to do with estrogen in the body. And estrogen is a hormone that is really dominant in animal food. And
Hmm.
take in a lot of animal food on a daily basis, like it accumulates, and excessive estrogen in the body is not good for the menopause years
And
or
isn't it,
or for
oh
cancer,
sorry.
because it's also connected with cancers, especially prostate and breast cancer.
Hmm. The estrogen is? Okay. And when we go through menopause, don't we like lose, I'm still learning stuff, but don't we like lose our estrogen or something like that? Like that's one of the hormones that just kind of
Well,
disappears.
told that they have low estrogen, and they're given like estrogen prescriptions. But I have seen over and over again that when women transition to a plant-based diet, that they do much better and that they don't need all that estrogen because they have the fiber in plant foods.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
fiber in the plant foods also helps to take out excess estrogen. A lot of people have excess estrogen,
Wow, too much.
too much.
Hmm.
Those prescriptions that they're giving women, like Premarin, which is horse estrogen, it's first of all is I've read that it's very, very cruel to be taking that horse estrogen, and many doctors
Horse.
understand they understand that giving these estrogen pills to women, that it is connected with chronic disease. It's connected with breast and uterine cancer
Mm-hmm.
and blood clots and heart disease and strokes. So giving these estrogen supplements to women isn't a good thing anyway, even if a woman is low in estrogen. But when the woman changes to a plant-based diet, there is something that happens with the fiber in the food.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so that is really what brings a woman to a much healthier time in the menopause years. And I've listened to numerous doctors in the vegan movement who have studied this and have research on this. And estrogen is definitely not the way to go. Dr. Linda Carney talks about this.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about that. I want to read a comment first, but then I want to go back to hormone therapy that the doctors always want to throw at us. I'm going to read Stacey's comment. Stacey Boss says, my doctor took me off meat because of the hormones. My estrogen levels were crazy. Since I've been off meat, my period returned. I am on menopause support, which is a natural supplement. Oh, good, Stacey. I want to know what that natural supplement is, because I want to find something that's natural, because again, the doctors, they just want to throw in all these little hormone replacements or estrogen. I don't want to take all this stuff that's going to be also a risk for cancer and things. Do you know about any like natural ways that women can balance their hormones naturally? Instead of taking hormone therapy from the doctors?
Yeah, eat the food that we're meant to eat. Abundance of fruits, leafy greens, vegetables, sprouts. It's very, very protective.
Mm-hmm.
Menopause years, and getting that movement. Those are key. Those are key.
Okay.
And certainly going for nutritional analysis, making sure that you have good nutrition. But if you eat that way, there are some vitamins like, vitamin B12 that
Mm-hmm.
can sometimes be low if there isn't enough of the B12 from bacteria in the soil, because that comes from bacteria on the plants in healthy soil. So we have to make sure that we are getting certain things to be healthy during the menopause years. But
Yes.
tablets and pills that are linked with chronic illness, we have to be really, really careful with that. I have a very, very dear friend who passed away about 3 years ago, and I tried to help her to understand that the way that she was eating wasn't conducive for a healthy menopause, and she had terrible hot flashes, and was having other female issues as well, and
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to change her diet. And then she was diagnosed with uterine cancer. She was on Premarin, on this estrogen supplement, and one of the side effects is uterine cancer.
Oh, wow. And this is something her doctor prescribed to her.
Yes.
Wow, that is so sad. I also lost a cousin last year. She just turned 50 to uterine cancer. And wow. And that's exactly why I'm scared to take, these things that the doctors are throwing my way. I'm like, I have to find a natural way because I want to be healthy. I don't want to feel like I'm at risk for cancer and causing even more symptoms happen, you know? So,
Definitely.
you got
Definitely.
to get the diet right, got to get your mind right, got to get the movement. What's something that we should definitely not be eating? You talked about what we should eat, but what's like something that we definitely want to take out
Well, one
of
of the
our life?
things that I said, early on is dairy. Dairy's the main one. Dairy with all of the casein. Casein is the protein in dairy, and it is not good for women. I mean, it's not good
Yeah.
for anybody, but it's especially not good for women. So,
Okay. Dairy. Take it out, you guys. Dairy is bad, bad, bad.
yeah. When I
Yeah.
dairy out, and that means all dairy, because I've worked with people who have taken out like the cheese and the milk, and then they're like, but Karen, yogurt is so healthy. It's been out there for so long that we're doctors and dietitians and everybody just says it's so healthy. And
No.
it is dairy. It comes from the uterine system of another species, and it is not meant for us. It is
No.
connected with the cancers. And the longest nutrition study ever done, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, he's professor of nutritional biochemistry from Cornell. He did the longest research study ever done, 27 years, and he's the one who stated that this protein in dairy called casein is the one that is connected to most of the cancers. And we really want to stay away from that protein. And that means all dairy, not just cheese and cow milk. The protein of a protein molecule from cow milk is 20% protein. Human mother's milk is 5 to 6% protein. So
Mm.
very, very different protein molecule.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not supposed to be taking that in. So I would say that that's the first thing to come out.
Yeah.
All animal foods, eggs are like the period of the chicken. That's a secretion from
Oh,
the chicken. It's not something that is going to give a woman the healthy protein that they say, in the news that they say that we need to have. Um,
yeah.
it might have protein, but that protein is not meant for us. We can get
Right.
from healthy whole plant foods. There's plenty of protein in plant foods, and every
There is.
plant has protein, every single one. Might have different amounts, like a banana has 5% complete protein.
Yeah.
But, leafy greens have quite a bit of protein.
Yep.
Wow.
Kale, spinach.
Spinach is like 49% protein by
Yeah.
calorie.
And kale has a lot too. I've never had any problems getting protein in my 12 years of eating plant-based. Um, okay, this might be a personal question. You don't have to answer it, but do you know or did you experience, like when you went through menopause? I know you didn't have any symptoms, but I don't know if this is kind of maybe you knew someone that had lost their sex drive going through menopause. Do you know of anybody that has experienced that and if they overcame it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that also depends on what somebody eats, what they're putting into their body. Because I feel like you can have that kind of sexual energy and just feel great and not be feeling negative about sex,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
or also taking care of yourself and
Yeah.
energy as you're getting older. I think a lot of it is about energy. I think
Hmm.
many women have big dips in energy. Yeah, I'm even seeing it more and more in young women. I'm seeing, that chronic fatigue and energy dips. I just worked with a young woman, 25 years old, already
Wow.
exhausted and just not having like a really strong feeling just even about the day-to-day life.
Oh, wow.
She was just, it was energy, it was thyroid issues. She was on thyroid meds.
Mm.
Any kind of medications can also do that, can take
Is
away
she,
desire, the sexual desire.
yeah. Did you have any like what do you call it? Advice for her as far as like
Oh, yeah. We coached for 2 months. I do a 2-month private coaching, and she had found me on the web, and
mhm,
it just spoke to her. She said, "This is what I need." And we worked together for 2 months. And in that 2-month period of time, she made so many changes. She didn't go completely raw, but she made so many positive changes. Um, and the energy came back.
that's good.
She was already doing exercise as much as she could, but she was exhausted in the middle of the day. And she's a
Mhm.
teacher, and she was just wiped out. So her energy came back completely.
Oh, wow.
Fruit really helped. Fruit was a big one.
Fruit.
She wasn't
Okay.
much in the way of fruit. A lot of people are scared to eat fruit, uh,
Right.
because they've been told that fruit raises the blood sugar. I did a whole interview yesterday with the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and we talked about diabetes, and I can tell you clearly it is not the fruit.
They're scared to eat fruit, but then they're downing all these cakes, ice creams, cookies, all this other stuff that's far worse. Fruit sugar is not the same as processed sugar,
That's
you
right.
know. So you guys are scared of the wrong sugar. uh,
Natural sugar. And once this girl started eating fruit, her energy, everything just changed. She got her
wow.
back. She was on 2 different thyroid medications. She got off of one of them. Her doctor started working with us.
Oh,
She is doing amazing. She's just
that's awesome.
not only
That's awesome.
back, but she's had, like, her thyroid levels, everything is starting to normalize.
Wow. That's great. That is, gives people hope.
There is
um,
so much hope. I mean, this is the way that we're supposed to live and have the energy that we want and
mhm.
feel great as we get older, and to eliminate things like hot flashes. I mean, I've never had one. I've never
That's
had a hot flash. But
that's very
I
good.
nothing better about me than anybody else. I just feel
Right.
that this diet and lifestyle has prevented me from having them.
Yes.
And
This is
my mother,
inspirational. This is
yeah,
inspirational.
thank you. And my mother had severe insomnia, I was telling you. And
My mother as well.
I had insomnia when I was younger, but I don't have insomnia now during menopause.
Really. And are you still considered in menopause? Like, how long does it last? Like, how do you know when you're out of it?
Yeah, I mean,
When
I
does it go away?
was are your years after you lose your period. It's called post-menopause. You lose.
Say that again. Say that again. Like how? Like when will the menopause stop, or does it ever? Are you just in menopause forever after your period stops?
Yeah, I don't really think about it. I just really enjoy my life. I feel like I have better energy now than I did when I was younger. Um, I do
Yeah,
everything I want to do.
that's good. For
I mean,
you, you're not tripping off of it because you
thank
don't have symptoms. You don't have symptoms, so you're not really thinking about it. So it's like,
I'm just like living life and enjoying
yeah.
life. I was just out in Colorado. I was like playing with my granddaughters like all week. Because I have so much energy, they are attracted to me, and I love that because they know that I love to play with them, and I can play with them all day long.
Oh, that's wonderful. I
You know?
love that.
And
Um,
I also know that when I sleep, I'm going to go into a deep sleep. Um, I'm I'm not going to be feeling all of these pains all the time. Like a lot of women have joint pains as they get older. I don't have
Mhm.
any of that. I go on long hikes. I don't have any problems. Uh,
That's great.
I'm still wearing like my college clothes, and like I'm not bragging. I'm just telling women you can have this too.
Yes.
You can have this,
Yeah.
not beyond what is attainable. It's not so difficult. It's just a matter of the foods that you put in your body and what is going to create healthy living.
Yes. What would you say? Well, before I ask you about coffee, Stacia Boss says, what about vaginal dryness? Is there a vegetable that can help with this?
Vaginal dryness. I know that women, like, especially during menopause, a lot of people like to use like coconut oil.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Coconut oil is it's a natural, something that's natural, and it's not like, some store-bought stuff with some crazy ingredients that can probably cause you with a yeast infection.
Yeah.
you know. So
But also,
try coconut oil.
rich raw food could help. Just eating all this water rich, fiber rich food. It can
Hmm.
really, really help with that, because once you're taking in all this water content, it's like your system is not like so dried out.
Right.
know?
Right.
So I
So
just,
high water rich content food.
yes, it's not enough to be drinking 8 glasses of water all day and eating all cooked food.
Hmm.
You need more water than that. And it's got
Yeah.
from your food directly.
Right. Okay. That's a good note to take. Weight gain. So women, you hear, oh, when you get menopause, I gained weight, I gained weight, I gained weight. But you didn't gain weight. How
No.
did you prevent from your diet? Just
And I
like
eat fat. I eat fat.
yeah.
I eat avocados. I eat nuts and seeds.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't eat animal fat.
Right.
Don't eat.
So you didn't.
I don't take in any oils.
Okay. So you didn't gain weight, and you've maintained your weight throughout menopause. Do you have any advice? Well, I guess it goes back to the diet, right? I was gonna say, do you have any advice for people that are in menopause that have trouble losing the fat? I guess it would just be going back to the diet,
Go
focusing on
ahead.
high water rich fruits and vegetables and grains, and also with movement.
And movement, lots of movement,
Hey, Cherie.
and weight resistance training.
Yes, incorporate that weight. Okay, good.
I also
Because
have like a program. It's called the Women's Health Club. I have a couple of different programs that really are helpful, because I do classes and I go over each one of these things in great detail. I have a free Facebook group called Plant Foods Weight Loss, Hormonal and Gut Health.
yes, I just joined yesterday. Make sure you accept me.
Great, of course, of course. And
Okay.
I do a Facebook Live most weeks. So I do a Facebook Live. I take the topics that the women are interested. There's a free gift in that Facebook group, and it's my hormone boost plan. So make sure that you
Oh,
know. And that's very helpful. It's in the featured section of the Facebook group. And again, it's Plant Foods Weight Loss, Hormonal and Gut Health. And then I also, many of the women who are in that Facebook group have joined me in my monthly membership called the Women's Health Club. And we
oh, wow.
a lot of menopausal issues, pre and postmenopausal issues that can come up for women, and how to stay your healthiest so that you don't experience any of the typical symptoms. So a lot of the women who are in my group, it's like coaching at a really low price. It's like my lowest price coaching. And it's also very supportive, because all these
Mhm.
women are striving for the same healthy life, and
Right.
to follow plant-based as the way to do it.
I definitely need to check that out. I did join your group, but I would like to check out some of your other resources as well. Stacia says, Belly fat is a concern. I hear more about cortisol in women. What is your advice on this?
Yeah, I mean, cortisol is a stress hormone, and
Okay.
cortisol is activated by a number of reasons. Of course, emotional stress. So, emotional stress is not good for us during our pre and postmenopausal years, or it's never good for us. And
Right.
talk a lot about,
Uh-oh, Karen, we can't hear you.
hear me?
We didn't hear the last like 12 seconds or 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. So, even for children, when they're born, they need to be touched, they need to be held. They need a very low stress environment. They need the mother, especially, to be extremely present. And
Hmm.
the child is given this wonderful skin to skin contact. They will be much happier, healthier, and well adjusted children by
Mm.
skin to skin.
Just touching. Yeah.
And so we tend to think that, like, as we get older, that we don't need that anymore. And we definitely need contact. We need community. We need presence from others. We definitely need to have people that we connect with, that we make eye contact with. You know, a lot of people get older and they get really depressed. They don't
Yeah.
have passion anymore. They lose their passion. Um, so many people have come to me and told me, like, I don't have a passion for life anymore. Maybe that's why I'm having issues. And that has something to do with it as well. So
Yeah.
staying focused on what you love in life and creating community with not only family, but friends. And that can be very, very helpful going
For
into
the cortisol.
menopause years for the cortisol.
Yeah. You want to
Cortisol.
get
You
that
want to
stress
keep
out of
it
your
low.
life. Yeah. We have zero tolerance for stress. We have to do self-care, things that help us, exercising, meditating, praying, doing yoga, do things that make you happy to get rid of that stress.
Yeah,
Stress does nothing but harm for your body and your mind.
definitely.
Yes, and Cherie says we need it more the older we get. And I think she was referring to like the companionship and being able to just have that connection with people. Yeah, definitely. The more older we get.
I
And
so
even now at 48, I need all that.
yes,
Oh,
that part is really important. We're never going to completely erase stress. We have daily stressors that we need to deal with, but, like, some of the examples that you gave, like meditation and yoga, and I took a yoga class yesterday. Oh my goodness, I was like so relaxed coming out of there. I haven't taken yoga for a while, and I was like, wow, I need to get back to it.
yeah,
Really helps with lowering the cortisol, and that's why we feel better afterwards.
yeah,
Like babies
exactly.
who are held, babies who are not held, their cortisol goes right up. And I
Oh,
called Creating Healthy Children all about this. So cortisol
yes,
is really, really important. So that's one
yes,
thing. But then, then the other piece is, in addition to keeping the cortisol down in terms of stress, there are foods that stress our digestive system. And that's why I was saying, like, dairy is one of those foods that is
yeah,
so acidic, so
mm,
mucus forming, and it stresses our entire digestive system from, like, the time that it goes into your esophagus and down into your stomach and into your intestinal tract. It is causing stress, and then your body has to deal with it. It doesn't recognize it as food, because dairy it's from an animal. It's from an animal
right,
uterine system. So, if anybody is wondering where to start, that's a great place to start, because the foods that you eat, and if you're eating processed food, a lot of the processed packaged stuff contains MSG, which is
mm,
sodium glutamate, and it doesn't have to say monosodium glutamate in the ingredients. It can be hidden
yeah,
labeling.
yeah,
And so all that fake food, all that processed junk that most people are eating, that also causes an increase in cortisol.
Oh, we got to get rid of the processed foods, you guys. And that's why I always preach in some of my posts, because I'm not 100% processed free, but I am high process free, meaning like majority of my diet is whole foods, and I'm not perfect. I do have, might have some, canned marinara or some canned organic beans, but I eat a high raw diet, and I try to make sure most of my focus is whole foods. And I'm slowly but surely getting to 100%. I want to get to 100% process free,
Yeah.
And eventually I would love to be 100% raw, but I mean, I know that that might not happen. I think a high raw is a good balance for
Oh,
me.
I
But
great. And I'll be honest
yeah,
with you, I look at where somebody is when I work with them. I don't take everybody to like 100% raw unless like they want to go there. I
yeah.
where somebody is, and I take them to a place where they're going to be happy, where they're going to get the results that they want. That's what I
Mm,
look for. I look
right.
to get them the results. And to, like there was one woman who came to me, she was eating meat and animal food and processed food like 3 times a day.
Mm.
I told her, I said, the reason that your ankles are so swollen and you can't walk, and the reason that you have all these joint pains and you're overweight is because you're eating highly inflammatory food. And if we can start to decrease that and get you to eat more and more whole plant foods, you are going to see the results. So she was willing to go plant-based 5 days a week. I
Oh,
was
wow.
thrilled with that. She would
Yeah.
eat some animal food with her husband on the weekend, some processed food. So we worked it out that we're going to focus on the 5 weekdays. And
Hmm.
what happened? I mean, this was a huge change. From Monday to Friday, she was only eating whole plant food. And a lot of her inflammation came down.
Wow, just by making that change. And she still had animal products, but it was just a little bit, and that made a big difference.
Made
That's
a
amazing.
difference.
Little steps, little steps.
That's
You
right.
know,
So
you have to crawl before you walk.
yes, it's important to take people from where they are to where they logistically can go
Hmm.
to make
Yeah,
sense so that they get the results.
exactly. Something they can commit to. Vegan Cherie says, how do you feel about chewing your foods completely? I heard that that's very important.
Very important. Thank you for bringing that up. That is an excellent point because we absolutely must chew our food to interact the food with the saliva because that is the first point of digestion before the food goes down to your stomach. So
Hmm.
you really do want to chew your food. I see a lot of people who have, you know, grown up gulping their food. They just gulp it down. Like you see people on their lunch break shoving their food down and they're not chewing and they don't get a whole lot of benefit. And,
Me? No.
and there's a lot of malabsorption where we don't absorb the nutrients in the food if we're not chewing slowly and carefully.
Mm. So some very important. I'm guilty of that. Sometimes, especially if something's really good, I feel like if I just, just chew a little bit, then I can just really taste it as it goes down. But yeah, it's important. Um, Cherie says, how long has she been? She's been raw vegan for 28 years, Cherie. And she said, what's your age today?
So I'm 68 right now,
Oh,
and
68.
I'm feeling really good. So I'm
She's,
close to my
she's thriving, thriving.
I feel like I'm thriving because I just don't have a lot of the symptoms that I see out there, and I'm enjoying every day. I feel vibrant. I feel happy. My skin is clear. Like in my younger days, I had horrible, horrible acne.
Yeah.
I'm in control of my weight. I'm at my ideal weight. I feel good. I'm 5'4". I'm about 115 pounds. If I get more than that, I feel sluggish. If I get less than that, I don't feel good either.
Mm-hmm.
And I
You're
have done
doing.
and things like that over the past, because when I was younger, I was on a lot of medications for the acne and for the IBS and even for the menstrual pains that I had. I was on a lot of meds. And so I did do some cleansing. And there was one time where I did do a 2-week water fast and I lost a tremendous amount of weight. I went down to like 85 pounds and I had no
Oh,
energy. I think I could have done it in a different way. I think it would have been better for me to do like a juice and smoothie cleanse or something like that. But the water for me, who was already like, I'm not an overweight person. So for me to do that and lose so much weight, it took me a long time to gain the weight back. So I
oh, really?
don't do those kinds of cleanses except if somebody is, very overweight and wants to do something real serious kind of.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta be careful with those water fasts.
Careful with the water fast. It really needs good supervision. You can't
Yeah,
do things yourself. I
don't, yeah.
3 times a year, I lead a juice cleanse or a juice and smoothie cleanse, and people get a lot of benefits out of that. I've had some women who have done that, and it has flattened their tummy, and they've loved it.
Oh, wow, I need that.
So that's like
Oh,
really key also. But, if women want information, they can also, I have like a community newsletter and I give free recipes. I have, a couple of websites. One of them is Feel Fabulous with Food.
yes, I was going to ask you to talk about your websites, talk about your books, and where can they find everything in your IG bio? Can they get to everything from there or?
Yeah, a lot of things are on my IG bio. If you click, well, my Instagram handle is Super Healthy Raw. And if you go to there and click on the link, it will take you through to a lot of the things that I offer. I'm pretty sure my websites are there, but I'll give you the websites anyway. Feelfabulouswithfood.com has my private coaching and also has my vegan coach certification course. I teach people to become coaches and to go out there and spread this information so that I teach them how to I teach them all the coaching strategies that I've learned over the decades of being a coach, and I also teach them how to become visible and get out there and to make an income as a coach. So that's on there, as well as the private coaching with me. And then, like Nicole was saying before, she found me through my YouTube channel, which is also Feel Fabulous with Food. And I have another website for families, raising healthy plant-based families, and my books are on there. And also you can get a little free, very simple recipe book. My raw food finger foods are on there, and that's
Mhm.
superhealthychildren.com. And if you go to the products page, you'll see some of my books, because I was passionate for many years after I healed my son from asthma and chronic ear infections. I was really passionate about writing about the health of families and kids.
Mhm. Mhm.
You don't have to have, so many kids are sick these days. We can
Yes.
have really healthy children. So I wrote a book called Creating Healthy Children. And if anybody emails me, I have a big sale on that book right now. I also have a recipe book
Hey,
called,
Becky.
can you hear me?
Sorry, go ahead.
Can you hear me,
No,
Nicole?
I'm sorry. I was saying, hi, Becky. Becky, I think you know her as well. She was
Oh,
saying hi. Becky, the healthy lady.
I know Becky. Yeah,
Yeah.
Becky. I have recipe books. Everything is up on the products page at
Okay.
superhealthychildren.com.
Okay.
And yeah, and if somebody has a question based on this interview, anything about menopause, or they can always contact me through the contact page on either one of those websites.
Okay, great. You guys make sure you check her. The IG won't allow me to put so much wording in the post. So if I put your bio, it wouldn't allow me to the other room to put the books and everything. But you guys can go to her IG bio to get to the other, sources. You guys check out her bio, her websites, her books. She has the Facebook groups. Check out her YouTube. Make sure you follow her. She has so much great information. I thank you again, Karen, for just all this information. And, everybody that watched or is watching, make sure you share it to 5, 10 of your friends, especially women that are in their like 30s and 40s and early 50s, because we all will, or, are experiencing this now, right? So, or if you're not experiencing it, you're going to, don't ignore it, because it's a big thing. Menopause is very important to be knowledgeable about. And, Karen touched on a lot of her diet is what made her be so successful during menopause and not have symptoms like most people. So diet, high fruits, high water content foods, lots of greens, making sure you're eating whole foods and not processed, making sure you're getting your daily exercise and making sure you're doing your resistance training, and just staying positive and try to live as stress-free as you can. All those play a part in what made her go through. Huh?
And I was going to say, anybody here who follows me, and if you let me know that you were on Nicole's show today, I'll follow you back.
Oh, yay. Yeah, that's nice. Yes, so you guys follow her. And I always like to ask, who is your biggest inspiration? You don't have to be it doesn't have to be in the vegan community, but just, in life. Who's your biggest inspiration?
Well, for me, my biggest inspiration was, I would say, my grandmother. Saying earlier that my grandmother in 1921 was able to heal asthma and emphysema when she was told that her life was almost finished. And she was like 32 at the time. And my father was 4 years old, and she decided to check herself out of the hospital and try going to a natural plant way of eating. And that's what she did. There wasn't the words plant-based or vegan or raw vegan. None of that existed. She did it on her own. And she's been my major inspiration.
That's amazing. That my grandmother was also she was, and she still is, my biggest inspiration, even though she's no longer with us, but she's still in my heart. So thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate everything you shared with us today. Again, everybody, please share the live. We all got to get knowledgeable about menopause and health. I wanted to just say before I go, next week I'll be interviewing Miss Veganette, who lost around 100 pounds. She's been eating plant-based for some years now. So join me on the 30th at 2 p.m. PST. Karen, I just want to thank you. And you guys, if you weren't here in the beginning, watch the beginning on how we came together. I think it was, no, I don't think. It was only God that, just listen to the beginning, y'all, because it's just amazing how Karen and I came together. I'm still like in awe and shock.
We're going to, and I said, and we're going to stay in touch.
Yes, definitely. Let's stay in touch. We're following each other, and now we're Facebook friends, so we'll definitely be in touch. Want to leave you all with saying that you're all blessed, you're highly favored, and you all are destined for greatness. I like to say this to everybody at the end of my show, and just God bless you all. You guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you celebrate it, and also tomorrow's my birthday.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
Thank you. Tomorrow's my birthday, November 22nd. I can't believe I'm going to be 48. But anyway, I still feel 30.
You look wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. And so do you. And you have a wonderful week. And I'll see you around on Instagram. I might have to bring you back just to talk more about your raw vegan lifestyle. We touched on it a little bit, but we was focused on the menopause. But I might have to bring you back for a second interview in the near future.
Sounds fun. That sounds great. And I also want to thank everybody who came in and listened and asked questions. We had some really great engagement here, and
Yes. Thank you,
that was
Cherie.
cool too.
Yes. And we will have a replay on both of our pages, so feel free to go to our page. It'll be posted probably within 5 minutes after we get off this live. Share it to 5, 10 of your friends, and everyone have a wonderful week. Karen, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I love talking to you and just getting to know you even more.
Thank you. And I really appreciate what you're doing out there in the world. It's great.
Thank you.
A lot
Thank
of great
you.
information.
Thank you. Don't eat too much on Thanksgiving, everybody. No, just kidding.
Take care of
All
yourself,
right.
some healthy treats.
Yes, yes. All right. Take care, everyone. God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.